let us remember the all-pervading principle of consciousness in which we all exist. That all-pervading principle is God. Manifestation of that principle in human form, in the form of Sri Gurus. God being the first Guru, Babaji Maharaj, Lahiri Mahashay, Sri Yukteswar Ji, Sannal Baba, Paramahansa Yoganand Ji, Swami Satyanand Ji, Sri Gurudev and Sri Guruji. One principle flowing through different forms. That same principle is within ourselves as our own consciousness. We bow to that consciousness within as Guru and as God. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shyama Charana Madhyamam Pragyananandam Paryantam Bande Guru Paramparam. Iswaraha Gururatmaiti Murtiveda Vibhagine Vyamavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. May the blessings of God and Gurus guide us in today's discussion. Om Tat Sat Om. Thank you. So, Bhadrayu Pranam, Amita Pranam.
Pranam, everybody.
So, I will give a little introduction. Just to start with, we have received some questions through emails, mostly through emails, and we'll discuss those. The idea of question and answer is a very ancient tradition where no questions have been considered as invalid. And we see that in the scriptures, like in the Bhagavad Gita, it is purely question and answer session. The important part that we generally kind of miss is that some of the questions are verbal, visible, that means we see it, but some questions are internal, that means we don't see it. It is inward. So the gurus or the masters, or in the Bhagavad Gita, the guru is Sri Krishna. When he's answering those questions, he's not necessarily answering the questions when it is spoken. He's also answering questions as he is speaking. Can you hear me now? Well,
Your volume is a little low.
is it okay now?
Pretty much the same.
Okay, all right. So, as I was saying, is that in the Bhagavad Gita, if we look at the question and answer, some of the questions are very clear. Arjuna is asking clearly and Sri Krishna is replying. But generally, the conversation in life doesn't happen like that. When we are answering itself, as I am continuing to answer, or as I am speaking, for example, or the Sri Krishna is speaking here, Arjuna's questions are coming up right at the in between the conversation, or as the conversation is continuing. So a true guru, a spiritual master, is answering the questions. Okay, so all can hear. So Sri Krishna is answering the questions, and as he is answering. In that process, there are vrittis or the questions are arising in Arjuna's mind. So that is why in the Bhagavad Gita, we see few questions of Arjuna, but long answers of Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is not answering one question. Sri Krishna is answering as he is answering. He is also clarifying questions as it is coming in Arjuna's mind. That is not something that we see. So from a spiritual perspective, what we could try is that while answering a question in our discussion, or while even asking a question, we must watch that when the answering and questioning process is going on, what is going on in our mind. And this is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita, that we can watch it. So in today's conversation, we'll have little discussion, some answering and probably some ideas. So I would request you to watch yourself and see not the questions being answered, because whether the ideas are helping to open up thought process. Some questions may get answered, some questions will not get answered. Sri Guruji once said is that all questions do not need to be answered. Some questions need to be kept as is. Some questions we need to pursue it a little bit more. Some questions we need to answer it right now. Some questions we hold on to it and find answers as we progress. So I would request you not to expect that all questions will be answered, but see whether some openings are coming to the mind to see that there are some resolution in thought process. So with that, we will go to questions. The way it would work is that I would read the question, and maybe I would request Bhadrayu or Amit Baba to answer it. And some of it I may just take up it if it is simple. We'll start in order. I will not take the name of the person who has written this question. I'll just read the question. So the first question is, what is the difference between Kriya Yoga, the Surat Yoga and Hamsa Yoga Sangha? This is a question about comparison between different yoga. So we will not answer like this. I would request Amit Baba to tell what exactly Kriya Yoga brings to forefront as a general principle. Baba, please.
Thank you, Sahajananda Ji. I humbly bow to all who are attending, and my pranams to Bhadrayu Baba and Sahajananda Ji. So as Swamiji said, this question is about comparison. We are practitioners of Kriya Yoga. That is what we have learned. These are different techniques, perhaps, to achieve the same goal. But our expertise, our sadhana is in the path of Kriya Yoga. And what to say about Kriya Yoga, all of you are aware of it. But I will just say a couple of things about Kriya Yoga. When we are in the path of yoga, and we know yoga is to accomplish the union of the body and the soul, the body, mind, and the soul in all activities, then if we have to practice something, what better technique to really practice than Kriya Yoga, which Lord in the Bhagavad Gita says that he himself taught this to humanity. And as we know, yoga as a philosophy has a sutra book, which is considered the reference on yoga, which in the case of yoga is by sage Patanjali. And there also he talks about Kriya Yoga. So whatever other yogas that we have in the world, you will find all of those really as a part of Kriya Yoga, because Kriya Yoga is the definition of what yoga is. And simply said, it just says that to live life with the thought, with the attitude that the power of God is working through me and is allowing me to do any and all activities. So that essentially is what Kriya Yoga. And I will just add one more thing. I think we are so fortunate in this world that we have come to Kriya Yoga through the lineage anchored by Param Gurudev Baba Hariharananda Ji and Gurudev Baba Pragyanananda Ji. The thought which comes to mind is this is an unbroken lineage. We have a living guru. Those two itself are such amazing advantages for spiritual seeker. But beyond that, I think of Baba Hariharananda Ji, that he has provided such an opportunity for us because he really has been connected to all of the gurus in our lineage. He was born in a little district where Lahiri Mahasaya was born. He was initiated by Sri Yukteswar Ji. He learned from Sanyal Mahasaya, Yogananda Ji, Satyananda Ji. Baba Ji came and guided him. And of course, he has given all his spiritual treasures to Sri Guruji. So not only is this an unbroken lineage, it is a lineage where, because of Hariharananda Baba's sadhana, the teachings of all the gurus are summarized in his teachings, and that is what he has passed on to Sri Guruji. So this is an amazing path. I'll just end with that thought that I really feel blessed, along with all of you, that we were brought to Kriya Yoga by these two great masters.
Baba Bhadrayu, would you like to say something about, because you have met Sri Gurudev and have spent time with him. So generally, how, if an individual would say that, what is the principle of Kriya Yoga that encompasses, as Amit Baba said, all kinds of all yoga practices? In fact, Sri Guruji in Yoga Sutra books, he says that Kriya Yoga is the stem of all branches of yoga. That is also the views of Sage Patanjali. Please tell a little bit about the principle of Kriya Yoga from your understanding.
In Yoga Sutra Patanjali, chapter number 2, the verse number 1, Patanjali says that tapaha swadhyaya isvara pranidhanani kriya yoga. So kriya yoga is the integration of tapaha, self-effort or path of karma yoga. Swadhyaya means study of the scripture and study of the self. And Isvara Pranidhanani, love and surrender to God. So Kriya Yoga is the integration of all the three yogas. And there are many, many yogas. All the yogas take us to God. But so one who wants to deepen his meditation and go deeper into meditation and progress on the spiritual path, he has to, in the beginning of the practice, he has to survey some of the good techniques or spiritual paths, and then decide which one is the best for him, at that time, and then pursue that. Don't try to go into so many different types of yogas because it will confuse the mind. So decide one good practice and go deeper and deeper into that. So for me, I learned Kriya Yoga from Gurudev in the year 1978. And after that, I have not learned any other kind of Kriya Yoga. So I really don't know what Surat Yoga and Hamsa Yoga is. I have no idea, but I just try to go deeper into my Kriya Yoga practice. So Kriya Yoga, Gurudev says that breath is God. So try to watch your breath as much as you can during the whole day. Meditate every day for not long, but at least for the beginners, for not a long time, but about half an hour, and meditate sincerely. Then you can progress on spiritual path.
Thank you, Baba. I just want to add to it a little bit, is that I think it is very important for all of us to understand the principle of yoga and then look at the practices. So the principles of yoga, if it is understood properly, then we would know that how Kriya Yoga integrates all the principles with respect to the physical aspect, the psychological aspect, the emotional aspect, the intellectual aspect, the spiritual aspects into the practice, and how also it integrates what Bhadrayu was said, the karma yoga aspect of Gita, the bhakti yoga aspect of the Gita, devotional aspect, and also the jnana yoga or the awareness or knowledge aspect. So my request to all of us here to take some time, read the Kriya Yoga scientific process book, a little bit more thoroughly, or if you would like to start with the scripture, it would be good to study the Yoga Sutra, especially the chapter 1 and chapter 2. We have the book in our bookstore. It would be very good read, and you can always reach out to our monks or acharyas to get clarification. But I would humbly request, even if we are practicing for a long period of time, please take some time to understand the principles of practice. Once it is understood, then the confusions would go away, like darkness goes away when the light is there. So please take some time to study Yoga Sutra or the Kriya with the scientific book. We'll go to the next question. Bhadrayu, somebody is asking, I'm on the third question on our list. Somebody is asking, what is the eligibility of second Kriya and how it is evaluated? When should somebody apply for it? If you could give some guidance.
Yeah. Second Kriya generally, in general, after one practices first Kriya, first level of Kriya, sincerely for 3 years and feels some progress on the spiritual path, and he is generally eligible to learn the second Kriya. But for us, you have to yourself determine whether I'm ready for the second Kriya. Because if you are not ready for the second Kriya, and if you get initiated, you will not benefit much. Like, a student in the elementary school cannot right away learn, go to university. So, but generally, if you are meditating sincerely, and if you see that you are progressing on your spiritual path, generally the signs of the progress are that are you feeling more peace and more calmness? Are you slowly and gradually becoming free from your negative tendencies? Do you feel more peace and calmness? Are the quantities of thoughts are reducing and quality of thought is increasing? So if you can feel all these things, feel more peace and more calmness, and your negative qualities are becoming less and less, then you are generally ready for the second Kriya. Otherwise, in general, if you meditate sincerely for 3 years, you will generally be ready for the second Kriya.
There's a question about the Sutra book I mentioned. The Sutra book that we can be studied is Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Well, there is another question, but to Bhadrayu, a very short question. That there is a belief that we must perfect khechari to get samadhi or to practice higher kriyas. So please tell a little bit about khechari practice, Baba, like maybe briefly.
Yeah, it is not necessary to perfect a khechari when you do the Kriya Yoga meditation. In the beginning, or not in the beginning, when you practice meditation in Kriya Yoga, try to roll up your tongue so that bottom of the tongue is touching the soft palate. Don't try to pull your tongue too much inside, otherwise you will get choking. So try to touch the bottom of your tongue to the soft palate and sincerely meditate with love every day. When the appropriate time comes, by the grace of God and Gurus, you may experience someday in your life or in the next life that because you cannot expect too much, to progress so quickly. It takes time to progress on spiritual path. So someday, by the grace of God and Gurus, your tongue will go all the way into nasal cavities, and you experience that ecstatic. You will have an ecstatic experience during that time. So try to do that. Have patience. Don't try to go too much into, oh, my khechari is doing good or not. Just do like this with love, devotion, pray, and one day it will happen.
Thank you, Baba. And just to add to it, mudra perfection is not the goal of meditation. So we should be very, very clear about it. that our objective is not to perfect the mudras. And as Bhadrayu very clearly said, our objective, and a sadhakas, any seeker for that matter, the objective is to come back to a state of what Sri Gurudev called as calmness or equanimity, and Sri Krishna calls it as samavastha, or the state of balance. And that is actually what has been called as Samadhi, that has been called as Brahman, that has been called as God, and whichever way we name it. So our objective must be very, 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 very clear in front of our mind, is that perfection of techniques is not the goal. Techniques are tools, and yes, the tool must be done properly as per the teaching, but the objective is equanimity, or what Sri Gurudev called it as calmness. So that's why Sri Gurudev called as calmness as godliness. That means equanimity is God. There is to Amit Baba, there is a question about somebody has lost one of his family, like his wife, and would like to know that what is the idea or the understanding from yogic path about afterlife and angels. So if you could give a little understanding of that, maybe after that we'll go to the next two questions on that.
Right, Baba. So this is a interesting and difficult question about what happens in afterlife. This is a complex part of the play of life. Generally, in the Eastern philosophy or in many other philosophies, we believe in reincarnation, that this life is just a part of the journey. At the end of this life, just as we discard old clothes which are worn out, so also we discard our body, and based on our karma, based on the collective karma, we take on a different life. And this game continues till one reaches realization or gets merged, exhausts all karma, does not create new karma, then just gets merged into God. So we believe in that philosophy. Then in this life, when we come together, all of us have come together because of our karmic connections. It is not just husband and wife or children, but friends, even strangers. We meet, we spend some time in this world because of our karmic connections. And after we pass from this life, based on our karmic connections and how much karma is there, we will take on another life. So the question here was, somebody's wife has passed away. First of all, we pray that you find peace. It is hard to lose a partner after a long time. And based on the theory, the one who has passed will likely be born again in another life. And we too will be born again. The question was, will we meet again? It is likely we will meet, but the play of karma is such that the way God has designed this is that our memory usually will not allow us to remember that. And which is a blessing, because our gurus say that somebody who's considered your the most fiercest enemy might become your closest friend in the next life. So if you had those memories, then living becomes a challenge. But I will share with you one thing that I heard from Sri Guruji, which has been a great solace to me. Guruji said, and this was in the context of, praying or thinking of parents, let us say, once they have passed. And Sri Guruji had said that, remember, the soul is one. The same soul is in all. And the soul, the reflection of the soul in us continues its journey. So when we think of our parents, for example, who may not be here, and pray to them or think of them with love, wherever they are now, in whatever form, in whatever life, they instantly get that message through the connection of the soul, which to me has been a great practical way of thinking of this mystery of life, that whoever has passed, I can think of them, and through the connection of the soul, they get that message, even if that is not comprehensible to me. So in that sense, nobody is really lost. We may not see them in the form that we are used to seeing, but they are still there. And within, through our practice, in the communion with the soul, we can still be in touch with them. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Baba. And there is a concept I just want to share with you. It's called Rinanubandha. Rinanubandha means debt. Anubandha means it's not called bondage. It is bondage followed up the debt. Bondage is following the debts. So the idea that has been given in the Vedic scripture is that we are connected to whomever, whether individual, places. It is because of what we have done in the past. The best way to get calmness or peace is to bring auspicious thoughts of the departed one. So be it our family members or friends, just to have auspicious thought, that let there be auspiciousness wherever that individual may be. That would bring tremendous amount of peace. The other two questions about whether Lahiri Mahasaya has householder lineages. Yes, there are many lineages, householder lineages in India. Some of them, Lahiri Mahasaya's own family has a lineage continuing. His grandchildren, great-grandchildren in different ways are continuing the lineages. The other question is that...
Well, on that, I'd like to just add, if that's okay.
Sure,
to
sure.
you. So first of all, on the previous question, I think there was a part about angels. So just to say that in the scriptures, they say that there are different planes of existence. So based on our karma, after our life, we may be in different planes. So there's the earthly plane, there are heavenly planes, there are demonic planes as well. So angels, in that sense, is like that. And then just wanted to add a line or thought about this lineages from Lahiri Mahasaya, because there is one lineage in Kolkata in India, which is also a direct lineage from Lahiri Mahasaya, which I have had the good fortune of having some association with. In fact, I came to the path of Kriya through inspired by an uncle of my wife, who was practicing Kriya Yoga in the lineage of Sri Panchanan Bhattacharya. Panchanan Bhattacharya Baba, you will know, was a great householder disciple of Lahiri Mahasaya. And so they have a householder lineage still going, just like ours, unbroken lineage. And this is in the Kolkata region of India. And Sri Guruji, he has met many of the gurus of that lineage. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you, and you would be happy to know we have Panchanana Baba's great-granddaughter is in Chicago area, and she took initiation a couple of months ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so we had also a disciple of Swami Satyananda Ji, who the mother and she came to our ashram, stayed here. So we have very beautiful connection, like family members, different branches of the family. There is one more question, whether Jesus took initiation into Kriya Yoga during his time in Asia before his public ministry began. This part is not historically proven through Bible or anything. There has been texts, writings that Jesus went to India. I think the better way to approach this problem is to study the principles of Kriya Yoga, and then study the Bible, the teachings of Jesus, and see whether the principles are matching. And that's how we can know whether Jesus learned, if not direct techniques as direct teachings of Kriya Yoga, but the principles of Kriya Yoga from the teachings and how he implemented it or how he taught it. So it would be good to the questioner to look at the principles, or maybe connect to the ashram to understand the principles of Kriya Yoga and compare with the principles of the teachings of the Bible. But to say that Jesus learned Kriya Yoga cannot be historically proven through any teachings of Jesus. Jesus never said about anything about Kriya Yoga. We can only comprehend through the principles and alignment of it. We will go to the fourth question, Baba. I will summarize the question. In family members, when we are living in the family, sometimes we come across family members, especially very close family members, who are very selfish. And how would somebody deal with it in a practical way? and still maintain his or her own peacefulness and not disturb or destroy the family? I think both of you probably can take up this question one by one, one after each, one after the other, to give an idea about this problem, this family issue. Bhadrayu, you can start.
Yes, sir. Okay. First of all, if we are in some relationship with a person like this, she mentions the word narcissist. So if we are in relationship with this person, it is because of some karmic debt from previous life. This person and you may be together in some previous life, and depending upon what kind of relationship you had, relationship of love or hate or whatever, and this person is like this because of some karma from his previous life. So if you are in this life, if you are in relationship with this person, if possible, if it is possible, try to avoid the company of that person. But if it is not possible to avoid the company of this person, then you have to think that you are trying to work out your karma from past life in relationship with this person in this life. And then pray and meditate. It is very, very important on spiritual path. Prayers are very powerful. If they are done unconditionally with love, prayers will help you a lot on your spiritual path. So pray and meditate sincerely and pray to God. Oh God, this person is like this. It is problem for me in my life. It is creating many disturbances and creating troubles for me. Please help that person to come to his senses, to make him a better person. So if you pray like this, sincerely from your heart, and meditate along with that, then it will help you a lot in your relationship. It will give you the tolerance. It will make you understand that person better, why he's like that or she's like that, and it will help you to being less affected by that person's behavior. So this is what I would have to say.
Amit?
Yes, Bhadrayu Baba has summarized this all. These are difficult karmic situations, and it is difficult for us to foresee what lies ahead, what's the right thing to do. And as Baba says, prayer, meditation, having faith in God helps. I'll just add a couple of things. Our scriptures teach us that our body is the temple of God. So there is God living in our body. And then from that perspective, it is important for us to not let this body and this mind be abused by anyone, because in that sense, that is abusing God as well. So as Bhadrayu Baba says, that if not being in contact with such a person helps, then that's what we should do, not be in an abusive state from that perspective. But sometimes that is difficult if that is a husband and wife relationship. And then what is the recourse? Should one get, just to take a specific example of a husband and wife situation, should one continue living out the karma, or should one get divorced, etc.? That's a difficult question. God and gurus, they know the answer. And sometimes, if we are able to reach out to Sri Guruji or a realized person, they might provide an answer. I have heard examples where our gurus in some cases have suggested that they separate or get divorced. Or in some other cases, they have said, continue to live with love. But I think from our perspective, few things to do is to make sure that we work on our own transformation. That is one. We always remember that our body is a temple of God and not let that be abused. And then through prayer and meditation, maybe the answers come. Or if there's an opportunity to ask the Guru about the situation, maybe that guidance will also be very useful to us.
Thank you. In the fifth question, there is a question about what is Om Tat Sat Om means. Om is the primordial sound. Tat means that. Sat means pure existence. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse number 23, the three words Om, Tat, and Sat, all three refers to that fundamental principle, what we call as principle of God or pure consciousness, all pervading consciousness. So I would request you to study a little bit on that chapter, the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse number 23. The next question is whether Kriya Yoga and Raja Yoga is different. It's called Raga Yoga, but it's called Raja Yoga. The Kriya Yoga definition comes from Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra does not talk about any Raja Yoga. Generally, Raja Yoga is an import from the Bhagavad Gita. And Swami Vivekananda called Kriya Yoga and Raja Yoga are same. Raja means, there are two meanings. Raja means supreme or royal. Raja also means secret. So both these words can be attributed to Kriya Yoga because that is the integrated yoga, says Patanjali has given to us or mentioned about. So they can be said as same. Swami Vivekananda said both of them as same. Next question is, I think these two are question fifth. We'll go to the sixth question, Baba. So this is about somebody is not having focus in meditation. If we can give some guidance about how to bring a little bit more focus in practice. Amit Baba, please. Sixth question, first part.
Okay, yeah, the question is about anxiety and distraction creeping back during the day. This is a challenge with all of us, really, because as we know, it is the whole path of yoga tries to teach us that we are the formless presence of God, but that idea is obscured by our mind, which continues to always flow outwards. And throughout the day, through actions, through our sense organs, this mind, which is extroverted, sort of covers up that presence within. It is like the clouds which obscure the sun. The sun is ever there, but when it is cloudy, the day becomes cloudy. We feel that the sun is not there. So our whole practice is for this purpose, to control the mind, to let it not be distracted. So it is not easy, but as Param Gurudev says, that practice will make you perfect. The only solution to this is to stick to the practice. And what is the practice? The practice is, in our case, to do the Kriya Yoga technique as has been taught by the masters or teachers, at least twice a day. And then throughout the day, to just try and be aware of the breath. If we can be aware of the breath, then, and just keep a prayerful attitude that, oh God, oh Guru, help me, then that's a way to avoid the distractions. If we have that awareness, then when anxiety comes, we can be prayerful and say, God, I do not need this thought. Please take it away. I am in your care. So there is no separate trick to have this. We have to practice. We have to keep our awareness, bring our awareness back again and again after we lose it to the breath. Not worry about that I lost it again. Not worry about that. Just whenever we are back to that awareness that the breath is there, bring it back to the breath and keep our practice going.
Thank you, Baba. And just to add, generally it has been said that practicing more cycles of Kriya Bhav technique and Mahamudra technique would have transformative effect on the anxiety of the mind while going to the day-to-day activity. So talk to a teacher, contact a teacher and find how many cycles of Kriya Bhav and Mahamudra you can do depending upon your condition. And that would definitely help.
And Baba, I would like to add a point here based on what you just said. I think some of these questions about our practice, our techniques, we may not be able to go into a deeper level in an open conversation like this. But this is why it is important for all of us to try and connect with our teachers when Kriya intensives happen in your area. That is a beautiful opportunity to bring up all these questions about the practice, and the teachers can help. or if you can connect to our Swamijis in an ashram or our teachers in your local area, then please reach out to them. And for those who do not have these opportunities, you can send your email questions to acharya@kriya.org. That is the mechanism in our organization. So if you have these questions, some of which we cannot go into details in a conversation like this, but please write to our teachers. They're always there to help you and give you some guidance on these situations which we all struggle with.
Thank you, Baba.
Can
And
I add one more thing, Baba?
Yes, please.
Okay, over the period of many, many lifetimes, our mind has become very restless because of our desires, because of our ambitions, expectations. So in this life, we come with lots of desires, lots of ambitions, lots of restlessness. So it took so many lifetimes to make our mind so restless. So we cannot expect to make our mind peaceful and calm in just the meditations and spiritual practice of few weeks or months or years. It takes time. So you have to develop the patience is very important on spiritual path, and perseverance. Patience, perseverance, and practice. Keep these 3 P's in mind. Then slowly, gradually, you can make progress on your spiritual path. Because we have to make our restless mind calm and quiet. I'll give you one example that said that there's a lake. It looks very still and clean lake water. But when you throw a big stone in the lake, all the dirt from the bottom of the lake will come to the surface and lake will look dirty. Similarly, mind is like a lake, and there is so much dirt, impurities, negativities in the deep subconscious mind. So meditation is like throwing a stone in the lake of the mind. So all those negativities, bad thoughts, impurities from the bottom of the mind comes to the surface and disturbs the mind. So this is natural. It happens to every practitioner on spiritual path. This happens. So we have to have patience and perseverance and continue on our spiritual path, love and faith and prayers. And gradually, these disturbances will go away. And environment plays a big part in our spiritual practice. When we go after the meditation, we feel a little peace and calmness. But when we go in the external world, the energy from all the external world, which is mostly negative, that affects our mind and makes our mind restless and disturbs the mind. So the idea is to practice, and that is why these masters keep telling us, practice every day. You don't have to practice for a long time. Just find half an hour every day. If you do not even have half an hour, practice for 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but do it every day so that we can slowly, gradually become free from this effect and influence of this environment, which we have to live through, go through it, or bear with it because of we are in this environment because of our own karma from past life.
Thank you. And for those who like to understand how someone can practice a short period of time, the Kriya practice, please contact the ashram or any teacher or acharya at kriya.org. I think it would be good to personally talk to a teacher, then the teacher can, the acharya can guide you exactly depending upon where you stand, how to practice 15-20 minutes of practice, short practice, a medium, very long practice, or a full practice, or somewhere in between. So it would be good to talk to a teacher, contact the ashram, any ashram, all 5 ashrams, anyone can be contacted. Baba, generally we have found, I'm on question number 8. This is a very beautiful question that many times we have found that, especially after certain years of Kriya practice, or when we lose a family member and all that, we feel a little disconnected from our relationship and social connections. And many people feel that, is it proper? Is that normal? Or is that something being like, is it not like something need to be done to correct it? How somebody should work on it? Bhadrayu?
Oh, what is it? I missed that. Can you say that again?
The question, Baba, is that many times, many people have come across this question that after long years of practice of Kriya Yoga, and once also one time, for example, somebody lost a family member, then the person feels little disconnected from the society, relationship, gatherings. There is a little bit of detachment. Is that normal, or the person should take some steps to correct it?
This is normal, because when we have some experiences in life, mind gets disturbed, we feel worries, anxiety, stress, depression, all these negative tendencies can take over us. So it happens to people. We are not God-realized people so far. So this will affect us. So best thing to do in this situation like this is that, suppose, just give an example. Suppose you love somebody. It may be your parents or your wife or children, and that passes away from your life, or passes away and dies. Then you may feel worries, sorrow, and you may feel unhappy about it. But it is normal. It happens because of some karmic relationship from past life. So we have to accept that, and we will feel sad, depressed for a while, but don't dwell in this negative emotion for a long time. Because if we dwell in this negative emotion, then it is an attachment. It is an attachment, and we have to become detached. So best course of action is to pray for that person. Oh God, oh Gurus, please give peace and calmness to this soul. Bless the soul and accelerate the spiritual evolution of that soul. If you practice like that, if you pray like that, then not only the departed soul will feel good about it, he will bless you, and at the same time, you will also feel peace and calmness. If that person has done something bad to you, hurt you anyway, so don't develop any resentment or negative feelings toward that person, but pray for that person. Pray for happiness of that person in the next life, and always compassion and forgive. Forgive that person, and you have developed compassion. So this is the way I think you should live the life.
Thank you, Baba. And to summarize it, as long as someone is feeling balance and a joyful state, then to think about what happened in the past with respect to relationships, engagement with the world, that would definitely get transformed as we practice more. So just to keep an eye on the detachment, the equanimity of the mind, and that would take it forward. There is a question on Paravastha, and I think that should be taken to the teacher directly. This would not be the forum to discuss about it. But there is a question on resentment and remorse, hatred, dislikes. Amita, please give some ideas about how would somebody work on it to take it away.
What is the question number?
Sorry, Baba.
Baba?
What
is the question number? Question number of the question.
Question number 10, Baba.
10. Okay.
Yeah, the question is about dealing with resentment and remorse, and generally this is also connected with several other questions. The distraction of the mind. Somebody in the chat window asked that, how do you deal with a person who is perhaps really bothering you, and it's difficult to take your mind off of that. These are all, again, challenges of the mind. So once again, to remind all of us that our Guruji says that the spiritual path is a constant battle. This is the battle of the Bhagavad Gita, where we have to constantly battle our lower mind with our higher mind and have the awareness that the presence of God is in me. So in short, I would say that to deal with any of these challenges, resentment, remorse, are two things. One is that we should keep our practice going such that at least during the day, during these situations, we get that awareness that I am being overwhelmed by these emotions or this attitude towards a person. That is very important. Because if we have lost that awareness even, then we are completely under the control of the situation, and that becomes a losing battle. But somehow, if in those moments we can bring that awareness that I am being tormented by a resentment within me, or ego, or this hatred or jealousy towards a person, then I would say at those moments, if we can just pray to the divinity within to say, God and Gurus, I do not need this thought. I do not need this emotion at this time. Please help take it away. So just that, to the opportunity to sneak in a prayer, a surrender to God and Gurus helps, and then to continue to fight that battle, that okay, I will try to be aware that my mind is going down this negative path, and I will do whatever my gurus have taught me, whether it's watching the breath, whether it's to keep a prayer going in the breath, whether it's to sit down and practice our technique when we are most disturbed, whatever is our opportunities, I'll keep doing that. And this fight, this battle will continue as long as I have breath in this body. So with that expectation, with a prayer and practicing what gurus teach, I think that, in my opinion, are the things which come to mind to deal with these challenges.
Thank you, Baba. And anytime there is a resentment, there is a concept. Sri Gurudev has called it Shubhecha. Shubhecha means having goodwill or auspiciousness. I think we should all remind ourselves that any kind of resentment is more harmful to us than to the individual that we are having for or against. So to cultivate this goodwill or auspiciousness, so there is a prayer, it is said that let there be no inauspicious thoughts. Recently in the talk, Sri Guruji mentioned that pray that let there be no inauspicious thoughts in me for anyone, be that my friend or enemies, or for that matter for anybody. And cultivating that for a longer period of time will bring a state of mind where the mind will actually shed all resentment for anyone, even if it is justified resentment. So cultivation of goodwill or auspiciousness would help.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, Baba.
The short answer to this problem is to develop pure divine love. Because when we develop pure divine love, automatically all these negative tendencies will disappear. And how to develop this pure divine love? Prayer and meditation. Pray from the core of your heart and meditate. Slowly and gradually you will develop this divine love, and when that divine love comes, all your negative tendencies will go away. And if you, I would suggest one thing, Guruji has written one book called The Path of Love. Read that book, read again and again, contemplate on that book, and that book, when you read, you are in the company of your Guruji, and his pure energy will help you to develop that love. And it is a wonderful book. I have read it many times, and contemplate on that. That will really help you to become free from all your negative tendencies. Have patience, prayer and meditation.
Thank you. There is a question on why do we need second Kriya if the first Kriya is enough? I'll just tell it shortly. Actually, the objective of any Kriya practice, whether first Kriya, second Kriya, and up to sixth Kriya, Sri Gurudev has mentioned, is to bring that what we Sri Gurudev called it as calmness, which actually we have talked about is equanimity or samavastha, and that is actually is called God. So if somebody can take one technique and utilize one technique to come to calmness, then the person is fine. But sometimes one technique is not enough for one person. So the person needs a little bit more techniques. So in fact, Sri Lahiri Mahasaya had said in one place is that those who have second Kriya or higher Kriya techniques, they face more problems. So technique is not the goal. We should understand that. And practicing a higher technique does not mean always that the person is in a higher state of balance. Balance is the goal. And we must keep that in mind. Balance is God. Balance is Guru. The second question in the question number 11, Baba, is about how do I know I am progressing? It's just to keep an eye on the balanced state of mind. In fact, Bhadrayu mentioned, if I see myself more calmer, more balanced, thoughts are reducing. That means I am not having unnecessary thoughts coming up again and again. Then I know that I'm progressing. This is the only sign of progress. The progress is not that if I am seeing more light, or if Paramahansa Yogananda said, he said that the journey of spiritual life does not pass through path of lightning or path of fireworks. So we should keep that the objective of meditation, objective of spiritual practice, again, is to cultivate, to hold on to the balanced state of mind, which Sri Gurudev called it as equanimity. So technique is a tool, techniques are tools. Our own contemplation is a tool. Surrender to God and Gurus are tools. Prayer and meditation are tools. But objective is that. In fact, Bhagavan said, Sri Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, I forgot the verse right away. It says, Brahma is equanimity. Equanimity is Brahma. In chapter 3, I think. Anyway, we go to the question number 14, Baba, because then we'll come back to what is the difference between mind, manas and chit. Manas is translated as mind, chit is translated as consciousness. Amita, would you like to give a little idea, Baba?
Right, Baba said it well. Chit is consciousness. In Vedanta or in the path of yoga, they say that is the only reality, and from that consciousness appears everything else that we see in this world. So our mind, memory, etc., all comes from that consciousness. So that consciousness is that awareness, that witness awareness. And the mind is an instrument which deliberates, which thinks, memory is there, and all of these are sort of instruments. So that is the difference between the manas and chit. Chit is the absolute reality. Manas is part of this world. It's an appearance in that absolute reality. And which is the best place to establish God? The question asks manas. So really the goal is to be absorbed in that witness consciousness or that chit. And the mind, when it is still, then we get that when we reach that goal.
And recently, Baba, I come across a statement. It was so profound. It says that generally we say God is within, God is in the heart. Then the teacher said, you are actually made up of God.
Made up, yes.
So
Well, that's what Gurudev said. There is nothing.
There is no non-God.
Non-God.
Baba, also take the second question, which is about the family life. Why Grihastha ashram is considered as the base of all existence, all ashramas?
So, I do not know that Grihastha ashram is considered the best. Our scriptures say that there are 4 phases of life, and roughly they say, if you think of human life as 100 years, then the first phase of 25 years is brahmacharya, where you focus on studies and preparing yourself. Then the next phase is for family life, or Grihastha ashram. And then the third 25 years roughly is for vanaprastha, where you devote your life to service. You're retired, and then finally sannyasa, or to take complete seclusion from life. So really, these are the 4 stages. This is a model for life. It is not that Grihastha ashram is the best. There, after the self-study or the brahmacharya phase, if somebody is really aligned to God and feels that that's strongly about that connection, they can take sannyas, as people do. So I wouldn't say that they're one is better than the other. If one's life is long, then perhaps there's an opportunity to go through all these ashrams. In our organization, Swami Guru Priyanandama and Swami Matra Kripananda Baba are perfect examples of somebody who have gone through all these, or going through all these phases of life. And in all phases, to remember God's teaching that God is in all. Cultivate the divine love that Bhadrayu Baba talks about, and then whatever the roles and responsibilities of that ashram are, become fulfilled.
In fact, one thing Sri Guruji had said, the reason Grihastha ashram is given more importance is that Grihastha ashram sustains all other 3 ashrams, like the brahmacharya ashram, the vanaprastha ashram, and the sannyasa ashram. All are the physical support or the financial support is done by Grihasthashram. That is why Grihasthashram is considered very critical or should not be frowned upon. But one thing I wanted to tell, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us that there is nothing so thing is called best. We need to look at the suitability part of it. So Arjuna asks Shreya. Shreya means that what is suitable to me now, that is the best for me. So one seeker must look at what is suitable for now and accordingly take actions. So Baba, we come back to question number 13.
Just Baba, one more thing.
Uh-huh.
In this question, he's asking you, what are the duties of wife and husband?
Oh,
in
yes, I missed that. Please, can you tell that, Baba?
Yeah, so generally speaking, I have seen from my own experience that two people completely different in their habits, in their nature, in their hobbies, these two different people come together as husband and wife. Why it is like that? I think that God wants people to make adjustment with each other, and that's why he brings two completely opposite people together, so that you can see. But what we do, most of the people do, is that when we see our spouse, after a few years of marriage, we start seeing negative things in our wife or in our husband, because it is very easy to see the negative in other person. So, what are the duties of husband and wife? Not to see the negative in other person. If you see the negative in other person, and then very lovingly, sweetly, calmly point out that negative tendencies in other person, not to criticize, but lovingly point out those negative tendencies in other person. Because married life is a life of compromise, adjustments, and seeing the things from the other person's point of view, from the point of view of your spouse. And there will be differences in nature. So you have to make adjustment and compromise. It is not easy. It is extremely difficult to do that, but one has to do it. And one way to do it is to develop love. Now, there is love between husband and wife, but it is not, it is the love with expectations. It is a conditional love. And we have to transition from this expected love towards unexpected love or unconditional love. So try to develop that pure divine love towards your spouse. It takes time. Do prayers, meditate, and with prayer and meditation, you slowly, gradually develop that pure divine love. And this, again, as I said before, path of love, Guruji's book, that will help you to develop that pure, divine, unconditional love. And that will remove all the differences between husband and wife.
Amit, any thoughts on this, Baba?
Baba said it all, Baba. That's
there is. I'm on question number 12. Somebody is having some question number 12.3 first, Baba. Is that many times in meditation we get sensation on the top of the head, and would you like to share some thoughts how somebody should take it and how to approach it? 12.3. Amit.
yeah. So this again is it's a little tricky to try and answer this
Here.
in this forum. I would say that please reach out to a teacher. It is important to make sure that the different techniques that we are taught are sort of are practiced in a right proportion, I would say, because each of these techniques, they have a specific purpose, an impact on the body and the soul. And when everything is practiced in the proportion, in the manner that we are taught about, then our physical, mental, spiritual growth all happens in harmony. In situations where the strength of the body does not develop, or the pranic flow is not proper, the spiritual flow is more, then there can be some disturbances. So I would strongly suggest that please get in touch with teacher or send question to acharya@kriya.org or
I think
follow
there
it
are
up
some
in intensive.
I think there are some questions on techniques that we did not bring it up in a very clear way. I would request those who have questions on techniques, please reach out to an acharya or teacher or directly to the ashram, and the ashram can guide. Or as Amit Baba said, there is an email called acharya, acharya @kriya.org. Write an email to that, and someone will call you or somebody will write a response about that. There is a question that came on email about Samadhi, that I have deep desire to go to Samadhi. What can I do? I think this is the question. Maybe all three of us can take some times to answer this. This is the last question, Baba. We'll start with Bhadrayu.
Okay, Yoga Sutra Patanjali. If you know that Ashtanga Yoga, the last three limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga is Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. Samadhi is the last one. And Dharana means concentration. And Dharana will lead us to Dhyana, that is meditation. And meditation will lead us to Samadhi. So in concentration, there's somebody also had asked the question that during meditation, he feels the energy in the body, and he cannot go in the body less sensation. So again, I'm just saying this again, that when you feel energy in the body, tingling sensation or whatever, why should we be disturbed by that? Pray to God. Oh God, you are so kind. Because of your grace, I am feeling your energy in my body. Pray like that with love. But tell him, also pray that I am feeling this sensation. I am grateful to you. I thank you for this sensation. You are giving it to me. But I want to go further ahead. And I want to go beyond my body sense. I want to go into Samadhi. So please give me, lead me to that state. And pray with love and devotion. Again, love is the most important. Why I keep saying love? Because what is God? God is pure, infinite, unconditional love. So if you do not develop love in our heart, that pure love, unconditional love, then we cannot find God. We cannot go into Samadhi. To go into Samadhi, we have to develop that unconditional love. So please pray from the bottom of your heart. Pray to God to develop that love. And when the sensations come, pray to God, oh God, you are so kind, you are giving me this sensation. But please take me beyond that into Samadhi state. Keep praying and don't expect anything in return. Pray unconditionally. Make your efforts to meditate, go deeper into your meditation, and leave the result of your meditation to God and Gurus. Surrender to God and Gurus. And this state, concentration is our own personal effort. But Dhyan and Samadhi, that comes only by the grace of God and Gurus. All we can do is to concentrate and to develop concentration. Somebody also had a question about that, So to develop concentration, you do more and more pranayama. Instead of doing third and fourth part of second kriya, do more first kriya pranayam, do more second kriya pranayam. This pranayama will develop more concentration into you, deeper concentration into you. Paramahansa Yogananda said that one cycle of kriya pranayama will give you 1 year of evolution, or it will remove 1 year of negative karma. Lahiri Master said that if you do more and more pranayama, then you can more and pranayama, you can give you much deeper concentration. So deeper concentration, to develop deeper concentration is our own hands. We have to try. And then by the grace of God and Gurus, one day our mind will dissolve into pure divine love, and that will become meditation. Mind becomes thoughtless. We may not have body sense, and we can go in a thoughtless state. And then go deeper and deeper into that. And one day, by the grace of God and Gurus, we will go into Samadhi. So it only comes by surrender to God and prayer and meditation.
Thank you. Amit, would you like to share something?
Yes, the question is beautiful. The person is meditating as per Guruji's or Guru's direction, watching their talks, and has a strong desire to be in Samadhi. It's such a beautiful feeling to be in that state. I would say that with that strong desire for Samadhi, let us also make sure that during our day-to-day life, we are building that relationship with God where we are able to think of God within as our eternal, constant companion. There is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 9, 934, Manmana bhava madbhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru, which says, think of me all the time, become my devotee, worship me, surrender to me. Then you can be assured that you will be with me. That is the state of Samadhi. So I think when this desire is so strong, if in every breath we can cultivate that I am always with God, I am always feeling that I am with my beloved, my Ishta, then in time, with the grace of God and Guru, Samadhi will also come. But in the interim, life becomes beautiful. We get clarity and insight in how to live life and how to deal with anything that comes along the way. And then someday, God blesses us with our ultimate desire.
Thank you, Baba. And just to conclude it, Samadhi is in the Yoga Sutra. There are different kinds of Samadhi. The simple meaning of Samadhi is Samahita Dhi iti Samadhi. That means where the knowledge has been a complete knowledge has been realized. So Samadhi is actually a grace. It is said that Samadhis cannot be cultivated. What can be cultivated is the practice, and Samadhi is the result of it. So that ultimate understanding or ultimate realization is also called as supreme love. Supreme knowledge is supreme love. Supreme love is also what we call as supreme way of working. So karma, the culmination of karma, jnana and bhakti is called Samadhi itself. So from our concepts, from the Kriya practice, what our masters say that regular practice, dirghakala, nairantarya, continuous practice, satkara with love and devotion, asavita with the form of service, like I am doing it for my own calmness, not to achieve something, would help. So with that, I think we have completed the questions. In the chat, there was one thing I wanted to take up. There is a question about Kriya breathing technique. Please contact an ashram or a teacher. Generally, breathing technique or pranayam techniques are not discussed in question and answer. So there is a question, Baba, and this would be our last question, that we have happiness and anger coming to a person like contradictory emotions. So how would somebody, and this would be our last question, how would somebody deal with it and come to a state of balance? I think that's the question I am understanding from this writing. Amita, would you like to give a few moments, take a few moments and say about this happiness and anger contradictory things?
I think it is similar to the ones that we have talked about. This is the mind playing its trick. There is always the path of Shreyas and the path of Prayas. There is something which is the right path for us to follow and one which seems pleasant. Some where there is a normal reaction, but we know that perhaps that is not what our teachers are asking to focus on. So I believe from my perspective, the answer to all of those is to have perhaps that awareness, first of all, that negativity is creeping in. I am being drawn towards things which will ultimately lead to unhappiness. And in that moment, then to withdraw with a prayer, try to replace that negative thought with a positive thought, try to fall back on the techniques that our gurus are constantly teaching us to bring our mind back from that juncture when it may flow down a path that will ultimately lead to our unhappiness. This is the fight. This is the, when Swamiji says, Swatu Dirgha Kala Nairantarya, for a long time, as long as there is the breath, relentlessly, this has to be the struggle. This has to be till realization comes.
Thank you, Baba. And with that, we'll briefly do a short meditation. Let us close our eyes. Sri Guruji says, let us be witness of our own awareness. If the mind is not able to stay in awareness, be aware of the breath. But again, try back again. Conscious of being conscious. Witness the consciousness. Self-awareness. Yasya smaranamatrena. By remembering whom? Jnanam utpadyate swayam. Self-knowledge reveals itself. Sa eva sarva sampattihi. That is the only treasure I have. Tasmat sampujayat gurum. I bow to and worship my Guru, who is pure consciousness within. I bow to that pure consciousness in the form of Sri Guruji, Sri Gurudev, lineage of masters. I bow to that pure consciousness as all pervading principles, remembering. May there be goodwill in our heart for everyone. May there be no inauspiciousness in our life. May there be no inauspicious thoughts for anyone, including ourselves within us. May there be deep desire to realize inner self, realize God, realize Gurus. May the blessings of God and Gurus guide us in our path, protect us. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasche dukkha bhag bhavet. May there be well-being in everyone's life. Asato ma sadgamaya. May I move from misunderstanding to knowledge. Tamasho ma jyotirgamaya. Towards the light, towards realization, towards understanding. Mrityor ma amrutam gamaya. From limited understanding of myself to all pervasive understanding of myself. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. May there be peace in our life, peace all around, and peace everywhere. Hari Om Tat Sat. May the blessings of God and Gurus be upon us all. Thank you. I bow to you all. Baba, Bhadrayu Baba, Pranam.
Pranam.
Amit Baba, pranam. So
No,
hope
Baba.
to see you soon, Baba. Thank you very much for your time.